Let's be honest, guilt is a part of the human experience, but it shouldn't be part of your experience with the guitar. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and you aren't just worthy of love, you deserve love. Let's talk about the guitar community a bit. While it's a lot better than it used to be, there are still plenty of people out there who feel like there's a right and a wrong way to be a guitarist. It's dumb, but it's true. It's annoying. Legitimately, you will still see people argue that capos are cheating, that the only way to play is directly into a tube amp, that you're not a good guitarist if you can't play the solo from Eruption note for note, blah, blah, blah. You and I both know and understand how stupid that is, but newcomers to guitars sometimes see those comments and they get really discouraged. And I don't want that. You probably don't want that. I like to think that most people who play guitar just want more people to play guitar. So whether you're starting out or are an experienced player, I want to encourage you to let that guilt go. This video was originally going to be a quick little piece of short form content, but obviously I deemed it worthy of a full-length video, and that's because I asked my Threads followers, quote, "What's something you refuse to feel guilty about as a guitarist?" Nearly 300 responses later, and yeah, this clearly deserves a little bit more time. I'll have timestamps in the video description, by the way. I want to kick this off with one of mine back from when I thought I'd make this a 60-second video. Taking my guitar to a tech or luthier for issues that are out of my skill set. Listen, I can do a lot of work on my own guitars. I can swap pickups, set intonation, make small adjustments, but for most things, or bigger things that are more involved, I'm taking it to a professional. I'm busy, I don't have time to learn how to do everything, and I want it to be done right. So no regrets for ever taking my guitar in to someone who actually knows what they're doing. Plus that means someone in my community gets paid because, again, I'm paying them. From what I could tell, just doing a search, I've read every single one, I don't remember every single response. No one else on Threads seemed to mention that one. But I want to dig into those replies some. This first one is from Claire.guitar and reads, "Buying gear that's above my quote skill level." Shrug emoji. This one was actually a pretty common response, and I think it's a great thing to stop being ashamed about. Just like you don't have to run a 5K to quote earn a candy bar, you don't have to be a guitar virtuoso to justify getting yourself a nice guitar, a nice amp, pedal, whatever. In my opinion, as long as it's financially responsible, you should 100% treat yourself to something that will bring you joy, especially if that new piece of gear will inspire you to play more, thus bringing additional joy into your life. Thankfully, there are lots of affordable guitars out there these days, but if you're learning as an adult, buy the guitar that you actually want. Get the one you'll see on a stand across the room and feel drawn to. You're gonna play a lot more if you think that your personal guitar is the hottest guitar on the planet, even if your skills aren't going to book you any national touring gigs. Next up is from Moon Guitars, and it says, quote, "Playing cover music. There's a smug elitism locally here that only bands making original music count and, quote, support the local music scene, and I think it's gross." Absolutely. Once again, I'm in complete agreement here. My friend Adam from Cover Band Confidential, which check out that podcast if you can, has said that if you want to make money playing music, you better get comfortable playing covers. From a financial perspective, cover gigs pay the bills, and there's no shame in it whatsoever. Listen, people like seeing tribute bands. It brings them joy. Honestly, I love playing in tribute bands and doing tribute nights. Those gigs are a lot of work, but they're unbelievably fun. I think a lot of us dream about playing to crowds who are engaged and singing along and having fun and drinking or doing whatever, dancing. And that's what you get at cover gigs. Again, I've done tons of tribute nights, and I've played a few gigs with an Elton John tribute band, and genuinely, I had the best time at those shows. It's among the most fun I've ever had on stage, and I wasn't playing original stuff. But the crowd was into it, the band was into it, everybody was having fun, everyone was getting paid on the stage. What's the problem? In my opinion, it's pretty lame to look down at something that brings everyone involved loads of joy and helps local musicians, pay their bills. Next up, we have G. Campbell 73, who simply says, "Using a capo." The argument against capos grinds my gears, and it feels so disingenuous. Obviously, the intent of the argument against is to say that people who use capos are lesser guitarists, but many of the best guitarists I've ever seen in my life have used capos, not just singer-songwriter types. Using a capo unlocks different voicings, which can be awesome live or on record. It also enables you to solo with open strings when otherwise you may not be able to. Like, country guitarists rely on open strings a lot when soloing, and many of them use capos for that purpose. Otherwise, they would not be able to use those open strings, or they would need to use alternate tunings. Capos are great. Capos are great. So no shame for capo use, but much shame to those who call it cheating. It's an embarrassing argument. It needs to go away. I think it kind of is going away, but you still see it sometimes, and it's so dumb, so dumb. The next one is from Audio Esoterica, and it says tube halfstack. Quote, modelers and IEMs are, shush, tube halfstack. Yeah, you do you. I personally gig a good deal with modelers and IEMs, but I still wouldn't say they beat a great tube amp when it comes to sound and feel. Just like how CGI doesn't beat great practical effects, modelers, they're very good and they're easier for plug and play. They probably save you money over the long term, especially if you're touring. But if tube amps bring you joy, play a half stack. This one is from Andy Ferris, aka The Guitar Geek. Enjoying it even when I haven't practiced and am not at my best. I feel this one a lot. Some days I feel like I have stupid fingers. Sometimes, I'll take a few days off to work on other projects and find that I'm pretty damn rusty when I get back on a guitar, which stinks. It's not a great feeling, but there's no shame in that. Everyone has off days and everyone needs to take time away from guitar, and that's all right. It's important though to remember you can have off days and still find joy in it. So thank you for that one, Andy. All right, this one is from James D. I don't know if this is DC Harrison or D. Cherison. I'm assuming DC Harrison. And they say, hooking my thumb over the top for the F bar chord. It works and I don't care about your approval. Yeah, I mean, if it was good enough for Jimi Hendrix, it's good enough for me. Maybe it's not proper form, technically speaking, but sometimes it makes it easier to transition to the next chord. Sometimes folks struggle with bar chords. So, I mean, like James says, you don't need approval, so you don't need a reason either. Personally, I rarely play the bass note of chords, especially bar chords, when I play with a band because I find sometimes it steps on the bassist a little bit, but it doesn't, so in that case, it doesn't really make sense for me to actually bar the strings with my index finger. I don't usually wrap my thumb around either, but that doesn't matter. Next, Sean Cullen 923 says, leaving a headstock tuner on my guitar at all times. At home, I'm totally guilty of this. Headstock tuners get the job done, especially in this controlled environment. I personally don't love using them live. I find they don't respond as well when you're on a stage, but I also wouldn't judge someone for using one at a show. I would probably judge them a little bit if they're audibly tuning on stage, but that's another issue. But yeah, leave it on the headstock. At least you always know where it is. Totally Todd says listening to Audioslave or loving Audioslave. I'm not sure this one is controversial or something that anyone should feel shame over. Audioslave had some great songs. I also don't generally believe in guilty pleasures, and I think this falls under that category. Not much else to say about that. Sarah E. Housen says, boomer bends. F yeah, I just did a boomer bend. It sounded sick. Hell yeah, dude. I replied to this, but I'll say the same-ish thing out loud too. I never get as enthusiastic a response from a guitar solo live than when I start it with a big boomer bend. Bends feel good, and when they're in tune, they sound good. It gets people going. This is just another one of those that's like you're giving the people what they want. It's cool, no shame at all. I have a brief digression though. I briefly played guitar for a singer who didn't want me to use bends, didn't want me to bend notes when I took a solo, at all. I played one gig with that performer and bowed out, not just because I wasn't allowed to bend notes, but that was just at least a small part of it because I think it meant that we weren't on the same wavelength musically, which is usually fine. Normally I just play what I'm hired to play, but life's too short. Life's just too short. And it's not like we were playing jazz. This was pop rock, whatever. you know. Alexander Mariani says cheap guitars. Love them. Yeah, I like how this is the exact opposite of the first reply I mentioned, the top reply, and it really showcases how you can't win for losing. I mentioned this earlier, but we live in a golden era for affordable and / cheap guitars. Squires are great, we know this, but I recently demoed a guitar for a company called Winds, and its build quality was incredible. I've also played a few Enya guitars, and they exceeded my expectations. All that's to say, cheap doesn't equal bad. You could get into other arguments about cheap guitars, but I won't, not here anyway, so play on. Amp the Bass Player says bringing only the bare minimum gear to gigs, which includes not bringing an amp unless I have to. Yeah. Yep, that's a bassist. No, but I get this. If you want to backline, then do it. Not everybody has a car big enough to haul a lot of gear, and sometimes when you're on smaller stages, it's best to just backline stuff so that people aren't either putting it all on the stage or hauling it off and on the stage between set changes. It saves time, it saves space. I'll usually love it when I just have to bring myself, my instrument, cables, and any effects I'm using. After that, we get into a lot of similar sentiments. Plenty of people talked about not being ashamed of their current skill level or not being ashamed that they hadn't mastered certain techniques. I doubt this is unique to the guitar world, but there are certainly people who think that, or say at least, that you can't be a good guitarist if you can't sweep pick or shred a solo up the neck. That's lame. That's dumb. I'm sorry. That's another extremely unserious opinion. Yes, if you want to be a lead guitarist in an EVH tribute band, you probably want to get good at tapping, but if that's not a skill that's a necessity for your goals, and you don't want to learn it, then why learn it? Listen, we all have our own strengths and areas of focus. I can't sweep pick, but I can nail jazzy chord melody arrangements of like Christmas songs. Maybe I could learn sweep picking, and maybe someone who's a total shredder could learn how to play the kind of stuff that I do. But if neither of us wants to do that, then why would we? And it's not quite the same, but it's similar to another point I was going to make when I was just going to do a short form version of this video. And it is messing up every now and then. I'm always trying to become a better guitarist, but I think a lot of social media has made us think that we should be perfect all the time. Probably never had an immaculate gig, and I probably never will, and that's okay. Listen, perfection is unobtainium. You will drive yourself crazy if you try to be perfect all the time. It's just work hard, do your best, have fun. You don't have to send yourself to tears trying to be perfect or measure yourself against other people and their skills. We also have a lot of folks talking about using or not using specific gear, like modelers, Boss pedals, even Acoustasonics, and yeah, absolutely. Just like with buying gear outside of your perceived skill level, use the gear that you want to use, period. Acoustasonics are great, for example. The standard series is affordable, and while it doesn't sound as good as my Gibson Hummingbird, it certainly sounds good enough for gigs, and it's pretty fun to send through the Marshall wall at Sweetwater. And in a roundabout way, that brings me to what was going to be another one of my original points when I thought up this video, and a few other people said this exact same thing. The size of my collection. I'm not rich, I am a freelance digital marketer and a YouTuber. This is the result of years of collecting and doing gear demos. Frankly, it's a pretty inevitable result of working 100% in MI, the music instrument industry, for the past 6 years. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of stuff. A lot of people have a lot of guitars. I think for some people one guitar is enough. I think for most people who play guitar, you probably want a few different guitars for different things or just have a backup. And I love this stuff. I love guitars. I love guitar pedals. I love gear. Like, the creativity of a lot of the pedals that are coming out today is astounding and art in and of itself a lot of the time. And I feel so lucky, and I feel so lucky just to be a part of it and to be able to make videos for you. So thank you to everyone who watched this, but now it's your turn. Leave a comment with something that you personally refuse to feel guilty about as a guitarist. And if you liked this video, check out the one on the screen wherein I go to Seattle's best annual guitar sale. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that. If you plan on buying anything in the world anytime soon, please check out the general affiliate links in the video description. Thanks for watching, thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.